know what I mean? So when I see him walking down the street, I'm looking at him, and he looking at me, and he said, "Where you from?" I said, "Irvington." He said, "Man, you in the middle of Saudi Arabia. What you mean, Irvington? Nobody know what Irvington is." And next thing I know, he looked at me like, "Wait a minute." And we clicked from there. I said, "Man, what you doing out here?" and things like that. And it was a blessing. And then I ran into another brother that I knew from Gaddafi. His name was, we used to call him Beans. His name was Shadid Muhammad. And when I ran into that brother, he's a student at the University of Medina. It was a blessing because when I ran into these brothers, I didn't know too much the rites of Hajj. They started teaching me the rites of Hajj. They started telling me to do this and do that, man. Literally, it was a blessing because the brothers I was with, they didn't teach me nothing about Hajj. And the books that I was reading, it wasn't authentic. It wasn't authenticity. You know what I mean? It wasn't the truth about how you perform Hajj. So it was a nikmah from Allah that I ran into these brothers. I got excited. I started calling Jersey, putting all my brothers on the phone, like, "Look who's out here in Medina, Saudi Arabia," and we were soup, you know? So after that, I came back to America, man, and when I tell the people I came back, man, it's a real talk, man, that I felt so good that nothing on the face of the earth never made me feel the way I felt. I really, really thought it was the Zamzam water. I was telling people, man, it's something in that water. It gets you this feeling that nothing in the face of the earth had me that's feeling, man. Wallahi, I thought it was a Zamzam water. I'm talking about to the point I was running it every day. Like, I got to get some more of this, huh? So, alhamdulillah, man, when I came back, I remember the feeling that I had, man, and I started hanging around the wrong people. And I started going back into the recording studio, and eventually, I remember that feeling just disappeared. And I started saying, man, wait a minute, I used to feel so good, man, and all of a sudden that feeling is gone. Even when the Prophet ﷺ said that a man is on a religion of his friend, the man is on a religion of his companions. And I noticed that time that I was around Muslims, that there was Muslims that had me back in the recording studio, and eventually I started feeling right back the way I was back in the day, man. So I started doing music, like I said, and I started getting to the point where I started doing music. We had it so-called, you know what I mean, started doing so-called Islamic music, which I'm not going to get too deep in that because I don't want to confuse some of the people that's not Muslims in here, and they might think that, you know what I mean, if I get too deep into that. But as the Muslims, we talk on another different. So alhamdulillah, eventually I started to find out that the music that I was doing wasn't permissible in Islam. To be honest with you, I knew that it wasn't permissible. And I'm not saying that to non-Muslims who thinking about coming to Muslim. They might say, well, man, this religion too strict. We can't listen to music. That ain't what's important. The important thing is knowing who your Lord is and worshiping your Lord, because we all going to drop dead. So don't start saying, well, I don't want to be a Muslim because I like music. You can like your music, but just learn who your Lord is. And eventually you will leave everything else alone. So when I started coming back doing music, I got around some brothers that started giving me dalil, and that made me leave the music industry. But one of the things that happened, man, when I talked to the people I went to, and to be honest, I like to be straight up with the people. Before I was a Muslim, I was cashing checks, and this is no lie, and I'm not saying it to brag because this was haram money anyway. But I was cashing checks for $150,000 like every 6 months, or I get a check for $80,000 every 6 months, and I would cash these checks, and I would not be happy. I was steady trying to go get intoxicated. I'll go buy a brand new house, and when I buy a brand new house, I'll be happy for 2 days. And when I get in 2 or 3 days, I start feeling depressed again. So I'm chasing it down with alcohol, and I'm fronting in front of the people like most of the rappers do. You see them on television. They drunk and they high and they looking like they having a good time. But one of the things, if you have to get drunk and high, you doing that because you want to feel good. So obviously the people's not happy. If you have to turn into intoxicants and getting high, you searching for something. You searching to feel good. So I was just searching. So a car would come out, a brand new car. I'll say, you know what? I want to go get that car. Maybe I get the car. That's why I'm not happy. I think I need a car, man. So I go get a car, and it was so crazy that I drive the car, and a couple of days later, it's like it's nothing to me. I'm like, man, this is like temporary happiness. What is it? What am I going through? So that's when I started really trying to get more into the deen and more into the deen. I was blaming it. I said, well, maybe it's the death of my mother and father. This is why I'm not feeling like this. This is why I'm feeling this way. It wasn't until I started getting religious and I started noticing that when Allah says in the Quran that surely the hearts found tranquility with the remembrance of their Lord. And wallahi, when I read that, I said the only time I do feel any kind of happiness is when I'm starting to read something about Islam or when I'm around Muslims and things like that. So I started trying to get more and more into the religion and learn more about the religion because, like I said, that was when true happiness was coming. And Alhamdulillah, I try to move overseas. I said, man, I got Islamic crazy. I said, man, you know what? I need to go overseas and try to sit down with some scholars or something like that. And I went overseas, and Qadr of Allah, I had to come back like 4 or 5 months later. But the main thing I wanted to tell the people, even going overseas and like going from the land of the Muslims, from going to like places from Saudi Arabia and the Middle East, you see some people that they doesn't take their deen seriously. That I seen little kids that when I was out there, they was talking about rap music and things like that, and it didn't hit me until I came back to America, and I said, this is a blessing that what we have. This is a blessing to be a Muslim, man. This is a blessing to be a Muslim, and one of the things we shouldn't do is take advantage of this blessing. One of the things, some of us is born from Muslim families, some of us come from Muslim countries, but that doesn't mean anything. Some of us, the shaitan got us so blind because we might be Arab, we might be African, we might be Pakistani, Indian, we might come from countries that have been Muslim countries for years, so the shaitan will blind us and say, you know what, you was born a Muslim, you're gonna die a Muslim. As a matter of fact, somebody told me when I was in the Middle East, and a person told me that when I was talking to him about Islam, me and my wife, she said, how you gonna tell me, because Islam is in my blood. So when you hear people saying this, it's sad, and I'm not to clown nobody, but the shaitan can confuse us and make us think that we somebody, that make us think that we're gonna die because we born Muslims. Some of us gonna drop dead one day, every single one of us. Every single one of us got a grave waiting for him. And Allah says in the Quran that the next life is the true life. The next life is eternity. This life is temporary, it's playing amusement. This life is only playing amusement for us. We have to drop dead. There's nowhere in the face of the earth we're going to live forever. We're going to drop dead. So as a matter of fact, we need to return back to our deen, because we got to face Allah. We gotta face Allah. We're gonna drop dead. I don't care how cool you are. I don't care how many push-ups you can do. I don't care how many fights or how many people you knocked out. You're gonna drop dead. You're gonna die one day. All of us ain't gonna drop dead, and it's best to drop dead knowing who the creator of the heavens and the earth is. Because Allah said, man, this is easy for him to raise us up out the grave. This is easy for Allah to raise us again. People that have been dead thousands and hundreds of years ago, when the day of judgment come, everybody gotta get raised up. Everybody gotta get raised up, even to the point that the prophets like the prophet Adam, the prophet Jesus, the prophet Abraham, the prophet Isaac, Jacob, all these prophets that we believe in Islam, and there's many more prophets that on the day of judgment, they're going to be saying, myself. They're going to be afraid, and these are prophets. They're going to be concerned with themselves on that day. And look at us, man. We taking life like we just know that we're going to live forever. We Muslims, we don't even care about the sunnah, man. Some of us think the sunnah is obligatory. Man, the sunnah is obligatory. You know, even though some of the sunnah is, you know what I mean, the sunnah salat is, but when the Prophet ﷺ, when he command us, like do this, then it's not obligatory. So some of us need to return back to the Quran and the sunnah properly according to what the Sahabas was upon. Because there's a verse in the Quran where Allah said, those who oppose the messenger, this is translated. The translated meaning to be those who oppose the messenger and follow a way other than the way of the believers. Allah said, I will leave them what they upon, and I will land them in the hellfire. Ibn Abbas, radiallahu anhu, he was the cousin of the Prophet ﷺ, and he was also one of the well-known companions who knew the Quran, Tasfir, the Quran very well. He said that Allah said in that verse, the believers was us, the Sahabas, the companions of the Prophet. Allah says in the Quran, those who follow a way other than the way of Sahabas, the believers, we're going to leave you what you're upon and land you in the fire. How many of us are trying to follow the way of the believers? How many of us know who Umar ibn Khattab is? Abu Bakr, Ali ibn Abi Talib, Abdul Rahman ibn Auf. How many of us know who the Sahabiyats is? Because these are the people we should be trying to be like. If you ask some of the Muslims, name 5 or 30, 40, 50 rappers, man, they name every rapper, their birthday, Jay-Z, 50 Cent, they know everybody. They don't even know the companions. This is disgusting, man. We're supposed to be Muslims, and we look up to the people that's calling us to the hellfire. That these people don't have nothing for us in this life or the next life. The people that we should look up to is the people that Allah says in the Quran. He said that the Muhajir and the Ansar, Allah is pleased with them, and they pleased with Allah. Allah said that He is pleased with the Sahabas. I don't know if Allah said that He's pleased with the Outlawz, or He pleased with Napoleon, or He pleased with these rappers. Allah said that He's pleased with the Sahabas. If we want to take some role models, why wouldn't we look up to the people that Allah said He's pleased with? Allah said that the Quran is here to the day of judgment. The Quran ain't going to change. Allah said I'm not going to be pleased with the Sahabas until Jay-Z and them come out, and then the Muslims can follow Jay-Z. This is disgusting, man. We need to return back to our deen, because this is real talk. Like I said, man, everybody in here, Muslim or non-Muslim, you're going to drop dead. We all got to die, and then we're going to know what's the true religion. then we're going to know what's the true religion. We're going to get raised up in front of our Lord, because there's only one religion that's truth. There's only one true religion that's the Haqq. And there's only one way to follow that.